I want to start by thanking Uncle Chicka. Thank you for your welcome to country. And I too want to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to elders past and present. Well, friends, we are 6 days from the most important New South Wales election in living memory. For me, it's less an election than an opportunity. An opportunity to serve all those in New South Wales who want a strong economy and more jobs. New roads and railways, meaning more time with our families and less time commuting. Less crime and safer streets. Better schools and hospitals to educate our kids and look after the sick. And more help for those who are vulnerable. That is our vision for New South Wales. Our opponents, as always, are about pure politics. This can only mean a return to a sorry past, with cancelled transport projects, more hours spent parked in your car on packed roads, lower growth with fewer jobs, and higher taxes. Now, our opponents call what they are offering modest. I think that's a political correct term for a fail. And they have sold it on back of one of the biggest, most disgraceful scare campaigns we have ever seen in New South Wales. And today I will outline a record of which we are proud and a positive vision for New South Wales. And friends, it's great to do so in front of so many family and senior colleagues, including former Premier John Fahey, Nick Reiner. It's also great, of course, to be here with you, wonderful, hard-working members of the Liberal Party, who have put us in striking distance of a victory that will improve the lives of communities across this state. And you know, in the Labor Party, they have cross-factional allies. Well, in the Liberal Party, we have friends. And what a pleasure it is to stand here in front of a friend of mine, the Prime Minister, Tony Abbott. And his wonderful wife Margie, who is an inspiration to all of us. And what an honour, an absolute honour, to be talking about our future, our children's future, in front of one of the most respected leaders in the history of our country, John Howard. And none of us would be here today, certainly not launching a campaign for a second term in government, without the outstanding work of one of the greatest servants the Liberal Party or this state has ever seen, Barry O'Farrell. And friends, seeing John Howard sitting here, I am reminded of his role in the government of Malcolm Fraser. And this party, this country, lost a political giant on Friday. And once again, I wish to express my deepest condolences to Tammy and the entire Fraser family. But now I have to test your patience and bring back some unhappy memories. I know this is painful, but can we recall what New South Wales was like after 16 years of Labor? It was a basket case, and that's what they do best. From the Premier state, we become a laughingstock, and we're at the back of the pack on every key economic indicator. The budget was in a hole, debt was spiralling, and the state's AAA credit rating was heading for oblivion. Our roads were choked, new housing, a key driver of our economy, was at 50-year lows. Projects were repeatedly announced, re-announced, and cancelled. Labor had 6 transport ministers who had 9 transport plans and announced 12 different rail lines, and they failed to deliver a single one. They announced the M4 East in 2002, 2004 and 2006, and they never did a thing about it. The only thing they didn't promise, but delivered anyway, were new taxes, such as the home buyers tax we abolished as soon as we came into office. They spread CSG licences around the state like confetti. And instead of focusing on you, the community, they focused on themselves, on doing the numbers for the next execution of the leader as ordered up by Sussex Street and the unions. Now, sorry, I told you it was going to be painful, but it had to be done. And we cannot afford to forget Labor's dismal record. But I'm pleased to say, New South Wales is a very different place today. We promised to make New South Wales #1 again, and friends, we have delivered. We got the budget under control, closing the gap between what government earns and what it spends. And we tamed Labor's debt spiral. We managed and are managing our finances so that we could invest back into the drivers of the economy that has been the key to the spectacular turnaround we have seen in New South Wales. Our economy is back where it belongs at #1. We lead the nation on the key economic indicators. More than 136,000 jobs have been created since we came to office in 2011. Our policies are helping to put roofs over the heads of hundreds of thousands of young families. In 2009, under Labor, there were just 25,000 homes approved in New South Wales. Over the past 12 months, that figure is close to 52,000. And in the place of the 16-year infrastructure drought we saw in New South Wales, we are now viewed as the infrastructure capital of the world. And friends, can you feel it? Everywhere you look, you can feel the buzz of an economy that is on the move. The South West Rail Link has been completed a year ahead of schedule and $300 million under budget. The North West Rail Link, which Labor promised in 1998 but never delivered, is well underway. Duplication of the Pacific Highway, which stalled under Labor, is back on track. Hospitals have been upgraded around the state by Gillian the Builder. A new international convention centre is underway at Darling Harbour. And after promising to start work on one of Sydney's missing motorways in our first term, we have started work on all three. These are impressive facts, but it's always good to be reminded what they mean to people's daily lives. And as I've gone across the state and met people, I've heard some great stories. Two in particular, Liam, who lives in Campbelltown, an electrician, that said the widening we've started on the M5 and means that he gets home half an hour to an hour earlier every night, which means he can see his kids before they go to bed. That is the difference. And Norm at St George Hospital on his way to getting treatment. And he looked and he said, well, it's great you're finally doing something. I've seen nothing done here for 30 years. That is the difference that we are making. So that is the story on infrastructure. But friends, the story is the same with services. As we deliver the services you expect of your state government, we focus attention on you and making your life easier. Now remember that clenched feeling in your stomach when you knew you'd have to set aside a day of your life to attend an RTA office to renew your driver's licence? Well, that ordeal, friends, is over. And it's over thanks to our hugely popular Service New South Wales one-stop shops, now at 29 locations across the state. And we love them so much, the community loves them so much, we will be rolling them out in a further 6 locations by June and another 35 locations by the end of next year. And there is no better example of putting customers, that's you first, than Opal. More than 2 million commuters now have the Opal cards, and don't they just love them? What Labor couldn't do in 16 years, Gladys Berejiklian achieved in just over 20 months. Gone are those days when you needed a backpack to carry around all the tickets you needed to travel around Sydney for a day. And fixing the budget has also given us the capacity to hire more staff, more than 3,400 extra nurses, 1,400 extra doctors and 1,000 extra teachers, and close to 700 extra police. And they have helped achieve the lowest crime rates we've seen in New South Wales in 25 years, making your street and community safer. Our budget discipline also means we've had the resources to protect the most vulnerable, whether disadvantaged school kids through the Gonski reforms or people with disabilities through the NDIS. It also gives us a capacity to protect our precious environment. We just don't want the most prosperous state in Australia, we also want the cleanest state. That is why we've announced we will introduce a container deposit scheme to help communities look after their local environment. And as we announced on Friday, we've also launched a $100 million plan to protect almost 1,000 threatened plants and animals to ensure they exist for future generations. And let's be clear, we do these things because we care about our beaches, our bush, our wildlife, our air quality and our waterways. Not because we care about making backroom preference deals with the Greens. All of this adds up to a record of achievement, which is continuing and of which I am proud. And none of it came easy. It's a result of hard work, ours and yours, and on focusing on the community and on how we can make your life easier. So today I stand here and say this proudly to you. With your hard work and through sound economic management, we have achieved more in 4 years than was achieved in the previous 16 under Labor. That's our record, but just as important, we have a vision and a plan. We want to provide more for the community, including a bold $20 billion plan that will transform our state. It'll decongest our roads, fix our hospitals and secure the water future of our country towns. This plan includes an extra $1 billion for schools, including up to 1,600 new or refurbished classrooms. A second harbour rail crossing that will enable Sydney's rail system to carry an extra 100,000 passengers per hour. A Western Harbour Road tunnel to take pressure off the Harbour Bridge, the Anzac Bridge and the Eastern Distributor. An extra $1 billion for healthcare, including a new hospital at Rouse Hill and a major upgrade of Campbelltown Hospital. An extra $6 billion in vital infrastructure for rural and regional New South Wales and extensions to the M4 and M5. It is a great vision for a great state. And what really distinguishes our vision from Labor's promises, past and present, is that we have identified the funding. The point is that $20 billion of our future vision will be funded by a lease of less than half the state's electricity network. In a nutshell, we'll lease some existing assets, use the proceeds to invest in new assets, and at the end of the day, we will own both. Let me just repeat that. And I want to repeat that because the opponents just don't get it. We will lease some existing assets, use the proceeds to invest in new assets, and at the end of the day, we will own both. Labor has run a scare campaign on this proposal, but a week from the election, the good people of New South Wales can see through the lies. I have faith that you will choose a positive vision over a negative one. The truth acknowledged by pretty much everyone except Labor and its union masters is that our transaction will push electricity prices down, not up. And to hammer the final nail in the coffin of the Scare campaign, we've issued a price guarantee that will be overseen by that champion of the consumer, Professor Alan Fels. So friends, under us, network prices will fall, infrastructure will get built. That is our guarantee. Friends, we are delivering better services and building new roads and railways, hospitals and schools. And you can only do this when you have the financial capacity, which means controlling your budget and having a strong economy. This is precisely what we have done. And while our policies have helped create more than 135,000 new jobs, our growing population needs even more jobs. Today I commit to a target of 150,000 additional jobs during our second term. And we have a plan to get there by continuing to take costs out of businesses. Over the past 4 years, businesses have been supported by our payroll tax rebates with over 90,000 applications. And today I announce we will extend the $5,000 payroll tax rebates for companies that employ more people for another 4 years. We'll also establish a new $2,000 small business employment incentive that will reward small businesses for every additional employee that they take on. You see, we Liberals care about taking taxes away from small business, the engine room of the economy, whereas Labor wants to slap an extra $7,000 in taxes on every small business in the state. In addition to these measures, we'll boost the state's investment attraction schemes by $32 million to create a $190 million war chest to aggressively attract businesses from interstate and overseas. Now, I note the Premier of Victoria has happened to find New South Wales today. And I put both him and the Premier of Queensland on notice. We are coming for your events. We're also coming for your businesses, and we're coming for your jobs. But we also need to do more to train these future employees. That is why we've already introduced 200,000 TAFE scholarships for disadvantaged young people. And today I am announcing we'll provide $1,000 scholarships for 25,000 students to encourage more vocational education and to prepare them for technology and growth jobs. Everybody deserves a job, and that's why we will keep our economy strong if we are given the opportunity next Saturday. A pillar of our government has also been to support those who are vulnerable. Nobody is more vulnerable than victims of domestic violence. And earlier this month I announced that if we are re-elected, we will appoint a Minister for the Prevention of Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. I'm also proud that we are helping the terminally ill by leading the charge on research into medical cannabis. And here I pay tribute to Dan Hasler. We lost him last month, but we will never ever forget him. And he will continue to inspire this state to lead the country on the use of medical cannabis to ease pain and suffering. And today we are making further announcements on the protection of the vulnerable, the needy and the sick. Those with serious illnesses have enough to worry about without confronting extra bills. But at the moment, public patients with a range of serious conditions who rely on highly specialised drugs face a fee of up to $38. I'm talking about people with cancer, HIV, hepatitis, Alzheimer's, and many other serious conditions. It's just not right. A little while ago, I met with some cancer patients who told me their stories. It is impossible not to be emotional when you hear firsthand what they are going through. They were introduced to me by Nicole. a young mum from Stanhope Gardens who lost her husband to cancer 5 years ago and is now bringing up her 3 kids without her partner. People coping with serious illness have enough challenges already, so today I can confirm we will invest $76 million over 4 years to remove the fee for all highly specialised drugs, not just for cancer, but for all conditions and for all public patients. I know that many on low incomes in New South Wales also continue to struggle with their monthly energy bills, and we are determined to help. That is why we will extend our popular energy rebate scheme to include gas bills for the first time, offering a $90 gas rebate to help 290,000 low-income households across the state with the cost of their gas. Along with electricity network prices heading south as a result of private investment, this will make life easier for families across New South Wales. As I indicated before, I am so proud that we were the first state to sign up to the NDIS. Proud because this is such an important reform to provide real choice and control for people with disability across our state and our nation. Proud because we are already seeing the positive change that the NDIS can bring to people with disabilities who are involved in our launch site in the Hunter. The full scheme rollout was due to commence from July 2016. Today I am announcing that we will deliver the NDIS 1 year ahead of schedule in several locations in Western Sydney. By working with the Prime Minister, we have agreed the early rollout will involve 2,000 young people receiving NDIS supports from July this year. Young people and their families deserve to receive the care that suits them and that they choose, and we will move heaven and earth to get it to them as quickly as we can. Friends, we recognise that before and after school care services are critical to helping parents balance their busy lives. As a parent, I know all about the school drop-off and the rush to work, albeit not as much as I used to. But the government is already building before and after school care facilities in new public primary schools. Labor, predictably, has copied this policy. But too many of our existing schools don't offer before and after school care, often due to the practical challenges of setting it up. Well, that is about to change. We will spend $20 million to allow 45,000 more kids in 1,000 schools across the state to have access to before and after school care in existing government and non-government public schools. We always try to make life easier and more convenient for families, and this policy does exactly that. And so finally, I feel a special connection, a particular sympathy for new mums who suffer postnatal depression. As you saw in the video, Karen and I have been through this. We didn't know where to turn or who to turn to, but through expert advice, we did. And none of this is unusual. Almost 20% of mothers experience postnatal depression, affecting their ability to function day to day and care for their children. At the moment, Sustaining New South Wales Family Program, which was expanded by my government, runs nurse-led home visits for at-risk mothers in 5 sites across the state. Today, I'm incredibly proud to announce a $23 million commitment to expand this program, allowing nurses to provide coordinated support for vulnerable mothers and their families in additional key locations across Sydney. I want to ensure that the care and concern that carried Karen and me through the battle with this illness is extended to as many mums and dads as possible. And we've been talking today about all we have achieved and are continuing to achieve by working together. The last few weeks, as I've taken our record and our plan to communities across the state, I have been invigorated in the response. Let's be clear. What shapes our approach is the values we here all share. The values of the party founded by Menzies 70 years ago. Liberals believe that government should be an enabler. It should encourage people to reach for their ambitions, not direct them how to live their lives or put limits on them in the form of extra taxes or red tape. But the fundamental reason we do everything we do is to help the community improve people's lives. And that's why I take so much encouragement from the people I meet as I move around this state. I've already spoken about Norm, about Liam, and about Nicole. My friends, these are the people we are working for. They are why we do what we do. Their stories are a reminder that state government should be about improving people's day-to-day lives. We've done that with new roads and rail services, with more teachers and nurses, and by forcing power prices down. But above all, we've done it by growing the economy. Because that not only means security of employment and more full-time jobs, it also means businesses can better accommodate young mums who might need flexible hours. It means more work for electricians and plumbers and our other tradies. It is the key to everything else we do, including helping the vulnerable. Friends, my opponent didn't have time in his launch speech to mention public transport. But he did spend about a third of his speech talking about the history of the Labor Party. The message was, we've changed. We've completely changed. Yeah, right. The appalling scare campaign, financed and directed by the unions, that has been unleashed against us on power prices in recent weeks shows that nothing at all has changed as far as Labor is concerned. This remains the party of whatever it takes. Labor aren't going to change their stripes, and friends, we won't be changing our course. We are the government that fixed Labor's mess. We got the economy moving again and have funded plan for our future. We said what we would do before the last election, and we did exactly that. New South Wales is number one again, but we need to stay at number one. We are telling people what we will do after the election and how we will fund it. But to do that, we need your vote. And I ask you to join me over the next 6 days as we make a final push to spread the message across New South Wales. Our opponents believe they can sneak back into office by deceiving and frightening the people of New South Wales. On the ground, Labor and union operatives are on the phones whispering lies in local seats. They say a local Labor vote won't make Luke Foley Premier. So I say this, if you want more trains, not less. If you want better roads, not worse. If you want more teachers, doctors and nurses and better schools and hospitals, you must vote for your Liberal candidate. And the other trick they will come up with is their sneaky preference deals with minor parties. That's why you must just vote one. But let me be very clear. Only by backing your local Liberal or Nationals candidate can you back me and my team. Voting for a local Labor candidate will give you a Foley Labor government and the unions back in charge here in New South Wales. And if ever they get there, just watch how quickly their renowned economic incompetence would make New South Wales number 8 again. They cannot be trusted to deliver on any of their promises, and they certainly can't be trusted with your job. When I contrast our record with Labor's, it's to highlight just how high the stakes are in this election. You just can't risk a return to the past. They say on everything no. Well, we say yes. They say modest, well, we say great. They say fewer trains, fewer roads and less time with family and friends. Well, friends, we say more. Let's put our positive message to the people of this great state. Let's remind them Above all else, we will always do what we promise. We will keep our economy strong. We will deliver the jobs for our kids. We will build the roads, the railways, the schools and the hospitals that our community needs. We will always protect the vulnerable, and we will keep our focus firmly on you and not on ourselves. So I ask you to back me, back my team and back our plan, and together with your support, we will keep New South Wales working.